Knicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Fresh off the championship. You know what I mean? Fresh off the parade. I got my guy Josh in the building. What up, champ? How you feeling?
Feeling good, champ. Feeling good, man. It feels great. Still feels great. I'm still very, very happy and very pleased. It doesn't even feel like, man. It just feels great. I don't even know what to say, man.
I know. Well, I'm milking this feeling all year long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why we address each other as champ. Until we are no longer the champions, that's
Right.
how we
Until we
going
get
to
dethroned. Until we get
be.
dethroned. Yeah. We champs. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of dethroned, you know what I mean? It looks like they scared out there. The reports are the Giannis trade is imminent.
Mhm.
Either the Celtics or the Heat. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about if he goes to either one of these places, how it affects our chances at a repeat. But I know you said you had a question or something you wanted to bring up. So let's go. The
Yeah.
floor is yours.
Yeah. I mean, this is more of like a dialogue, but I want to get your thoughts. 'Cause I know you were at the parade. I didn't get a chance to go, but you were there. Um, and I've been
Shout
kind
out
of
to
thinking.
Sim. My bad. Shout out to Sim, by the way, for scooping me up on along the way, because I don't think I would have made it if it wasn't for him. So shout out to the Podfather Sim MBK.
Yeah, I saw you out there. You, Sam, and Steph was out there. I know it was a movie in that joint. I was at home watching it, and I was tearing up just watching it at home on my TV, like just like all the love that was shown. But I've been thinking about this topic or kind of question or discussion when the Knicks got to the finals. You know what I mean, or back to the Eastern Conference Finals or what have you, somewhere around that time frame. And then when I watched the parade, did you know that they were covering the parade on CNN and Fox News and like all the big major networks? And ABC. They were covering the Knicks championship, and then you had the Knicks players doing the whole award tour. Going on Good Morning America, Jimmy Kimmel's and not Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy
Fallon.
Fallon,
Yep.
and other late night shows and all of this stuff. The Knicks were doing all of this. So what I want to ask you, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about all this big media press that the Knicks are getting after they won the championship? Like, the award tour and all that. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I got no issues with it, and it's somewhat expected in a sense,
How so?
just the market, the market.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So the market
Okay.
is gonna dictate that just being in New York, and now you look at the circumstances and the content of how long it's been 53 years, and then you look at the outpour or the output of people who showed up, and
Right.
then the numbers of people who couldn't even get in, and you know what I mean. So
Right.
I think even if a network didn't want to cover it or it wasn't on their main line, I think at some point when this network picks it up and this network picks it up, you know what I mean. You don't want to be the one or two networks that don't have any coverage of it either. So
Absolutely.
I think but I think it's a combination of all of it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
being in New York and the circumstances behind this trip, 100%,
Okay.
it was gonna bring people out.
So the reason why I bring this up, and I don't know if you know where I'm getting at with this, is because remember we had this discussion, and I don't know how long ago it was. This is when the Knicks were doing bad, and I was telling you, I was like, listen,
And
it may seem like people are coming down on the Knicks too often and too hard because because it's the Knicks and it's Knicks for clicks and all of that stuff. And my response to you was, it's not only just because the team is doing bad, it's because of the market that we're in. And a lot of people, yourself included, Sim included, were like, no, it's still supposed to be fair across the board. And my answer was like, that's impossible given the circumstances and the setting of what's happening. Imagine if San Antonio, hold on, wait a minute. Let me finish my point. Imagine if San Antonio would have won the championship. Do you think they would have been covered on all these networks like that? Absolutely not.
no,
It wouldn't have been like that. It wouldn't have been this tour of going on late night shows and Good Morning America. It wouldn't have been anything like that. There's a difference when you play in New York City. So I just wanted to bring that up and share that because I brought up that point. I was like, when the Knicks win, it's going to be like nothing but like you ever seen before. It comes with the territory. Even when the team is doing bad, it's going to get covered differently. That's just the nature of the beast. So I'm glad that we got this experience now that we have won, so that I can prove my point to everyone that it's different in New York. I know when we weren't winning, it may have seemed like they were harping on us a lot and too much, but I'm like, listen, that's just the nature of the situation. Imagine if not imagine, but think about Cleveland winning, or San Antonio, or let's pick a team that doesn't have any championships. The Wizards, the Hornets, teams like that. It wouldn't be like this. So I just want Knicks fans that are happy and okay with what's happening right now, not just because of we won, but we're getting that respect and that ultra respect that we deserve. I just want people to kind of think about the context of where I was coming from with that. I feel vindicated in a way. That's why I bring that up. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, Tony.
It's funny though, because I remember the situation or the conversation, and I think we were having two different arguments. Because my point was, and again, I referenced this at the time. The reason I even found Sim's channel or any of the Nick content that was out at the time was because there was not only a negative stigma on the mainstream media and how they reported or talked about the Knicks games, but there was a lack of reporting. So my point at the time was, this is still New York, and they're not giving us the respect of that, the market. They would ignore us even when we have a 17-win season, but if two of those wins was against the top team in the league, I would expect, at least in that moment when we beat those teams and they talk about it, they don't talk about they talk about the Knicks, and they talk about who played well, rather than the entire coverage, if there even is coverage, was about the other team losing, not who they lost to, not how they lost, not who played well. So I think my argument was they're not respecting the market. And I'll give you an example. Los Angeles Lakers, probably the second largest market, or
it
at
is
least
the second largest market. Yeah.
So when they were bad, which was a long stretch, right along the same stretch as ours, they were still being talked about every single day. Why? Because they're the Lakers, not because of any other reason. Now, your point was still
Well, I
valid.
slightly disagree with that, but go ahead. Well, I'll
Your
respond.
point was still valid for the point of the Lakers had a more recent championship run at the time, and they you know what I mean, they played into the playoffs for a longer stretch than we, or it wasn't as long a stretch as it was for us. But I think we were having two different arguments at the time. So I think your points at the time was right, but I don't think you were listening to the points I was making in that same argument. And because that's the reason I found the content creators, because I it was either no coverage or only bad coverage. And I wanted to hear about, even if these guys was bums at the
Okay.
time, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just throwing a name out there, but if Marty Collins has a career high and it's 25, you know what I mean? I know 25 ain't a lot, but guess what? It's a milestone for him. You know what I mean? So that was my point at the time.
Well. Listen, I mean, I don't. I remember you telling me. Hold on. No, I have to bring this. We have. Listen, we can do this now. We are champions now, so we can do this now and have a good laugh about this. And I'm not gonna. I can't necessarily disagree with what you said about why you found the content creators. I can't disagree with that. That's obviously your perspective. But I vividly remember the argument because, and you said it towards the end of what you just said, no coverage or bad coverage. The bad coverage is what I was talking about, because it feels like the counter argument all the time when I was saying what I was saying was, it's always bad, right? And it's not bad. Like, they don't talk about us like they talk about the Wizards. And I'm like, they're not supposed to. This is New York City. It's going to get magnified even worse. And then I'll disagree with you in the fact that you saying that this team was getting little to no coverage. What about Jeremy Lin? Jeremy Lin had all the major sports networks captivated or whatever, and that team wasn't the best team. They went on a little winning streak or whatever, but Jeremy Lin really bought the energy and the coverage there.
that was still a different time because Melo
Right.
Melo was on that team and Melo got coverage regardless.
Okay.
So
So
so so
Kobe. So what about Kobe and the Lakers? See,
that had a large part to do with it. That
that's
had
what
a
I'm
large
saying.
part. But again, you know what I mean? I think even in real time, I said this, we were having two different arguments. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think what you were saying was true, but it had a separate thing to do from what I was arguing at
Okay.
the time.
Well, listen. All is well now, right? All is well now. You know,
All
we
is great.
understand the circumstance. All is great now. Yeah, all is great now. I just kind of wanted to bring that up and to just finish off what I'm saying, to put a bow on it, kind of like this ain't over. Like, and we're gonna talk about what the expectations for the Knicks moving forward. Can we repeat? We're gonna talk about that. But listen, right now, the Knicks are target number one, as they've been for some time, but now they're officially really target number one. And there's going to be an expectation that the Knicks have to do well. Like whenever they don't do well, it's going to get magnified the same way. Maybe not like it used to be because now we have the championship now, but it's going to get magnified. Salute to Andy. Where's Andy been at, man? What
Andy
up,
was at the
Andy?
parade. International Andy was at the
He
parade
was at the oh
from
man,
Poland.
from Poland. But yeah,
So
man,
that's
like
another thing I want to talk about, but
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
we'll get into that.
But yeah, that's just my main point. I'm just so happy that we won, and moving forward, listen, this ain't over. You know what I mean? We champs now, so we got to take the good end and everything that comes with it moving forward. The salary cap and all of that, because we got the championship now. They can't ever take that away from us. And of course, I want more. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to bring it up. But go ahead, Tony. We'll go ahead and continue, man.
Well, now I do want to talk about this Giannis situation.
Right.
The two teams that they got it narrowed down to the Heat and the Celtics individually. If he goes to one or the other, how does that reflect on the Knicks and their championship, their repeat chances? So let's start with the Heat, which I think is probably the less dangerous of the two potential outcomes.
Questionable.
I
Questionable to
mean,
me.
I mean, I mean, as of right now,
Right.
because they would have a lot of holes to fill, um, considering what they're gonna have to give up just from a salary matching standpoint. They're gonna have to give up at least 2 to 3, functional players
Right.
along with the draft assets. So I figure let's start there. Now, that's not saying
Miami, you said, right? You said Miami, right?
yes, yep,
Right.
Miami. Now, let's be honest. If there's an organization that does the most with the least over the last 10, 20 years, it's probably the Miami Heat. You know what I mean? Bringing in whether it's minimal contracts, uh, uh, unsigned draft guys who
Second
weren't
rounders, late
drafted.
second
You
rounders,
know what I mean? All,
stuff
all
like that.
those kind
Yeah.
of things, and finding diamonds in the rough. So I'm not discrediting the fact that they wouldn't be dangerous. I think they will. You add Giannis to any team in the league, they become a better team, hands down. But there's questions about how he fits with Adebayo.
Right.
Defensively, I think they're great. How do they mesh offensively?
Right.
Um, both of these guys can create for themselves, but I still think I don't know if you want the ball in both those guys' hands 50-50,
Right.
or even what I mean, the majority of the time. I think you want some wing depth, some guard depth, and I think they lose a lot of that if they go out and get Giannis. If I got a preference, that's where I'd rather him go.
Right. Because of the fit.
But
Because the fit is not ideal. Kind of abnormal. Right.
Miami's still an ideal destination. Free agents go there, especially if they're already willing to take minimal contracts or whatever. Now they start looking at the weather and the taxes and things of that nature that
Right.
that I think all favor Miami. But what's your thoughts on that move? I think you agreed already that would be your preference. But how do you think that would shake out? What do you think they lose? And how long do you think it takes for them to kind of
Steady it. Um.
yeah.
Well, it depends on who they let go on the trade. So I'm looking. I haven't really done the calculations. I haven't really been on the salary cap, like really focused on it that much. But it's my understanding that Miami would have to give up definitely one of either Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo, right, to make the money work, right, and then throw some auxiliary pieces in there, what have you. So I think the Miami move, it would be a little bit more dangerous if Miami were to give up Adebayo in it. I know Adebayo's Adebayo; he's a dog, but
Yeah,
Giannis is
I don't think he's the option though. I think it's Hero,
right.
Hawkes, whatever. What
Hawkes,
I
yeah,
used
Jaime
to call it,
Hawkes.
the guy who hurt Randall. That's what I always called him. I wouldn't even call him his name. And
Yeah, but yeah,
Khalil Ware, and then whatever else that
okay,
makes the money match.
got you. So if it's that, they give up a lot of their guard depth, right? Because your Hero, your Hawkes, like that's a lot of guard depth that they're giving up, right? They'll still have what's his face, the guard, the one that plays defense, have the really good one. With the
Um,
Michigan State, was it Mitchell, Davion Mitchell? I
yeah,
think
Davion Mitchell. Yeah,
they
he
still
was
got
on
him, but he's not.
Toronto,
He's not
right?
like he's not a natural. You know what I mean? Ball handling type. I'm a score on you. That's not his thing. So they lose a lot of guard depth if they do the hero move. That's why I said probably Adebayo will make more sense. But you mentioned where they can offset where with Giannis. They can put Giannis at the 5, have Bam go at the 4, so they can do that. They just would be missing guard. As far as what it would do, how it affects the Knicks, I don't think it'll affect the Knicks that much. I just think that basically all the power will. Milwaukee didn't really have much power when they traded away, some of their championship pieces. But basically, you just bring Miami into the fray of teams that can compete, right? I think that's basically what happens in the Eastern Conference. But I wouldn't be
Hmm.
too concerned about. I wouldn't be too concerned about Miami. I think Pat Riley is kind of feels the pressures on the clock a little bit. I think Pat Riley really is feeling that pressure. And if that's the case, then Spoelstra too, like, you know what I mean? I think Miami's owner wants to kind of get back into the championship feel. Miami's a bigger market, is a type bigger market. And I think Heat fans are starved out there. They kind of missed the championship days. So
I,
I think Pat Riley's kind of rushing a little bit.
I wouldn't say he's feeling the pressure more than he's trying to go out on top. You know what I mean? I think
Right,
maybe his days are numbered, but not from an organizational standpoint. But I think I could see him stepping away sooner
right,
rather than later. So I think
right,
he's got more pressure on himself and saying, I want to go out with a
right,
bang and kind of solidify or put a cherry on the end of my legacy. So,
right.
I don't think there's any internal pressure
Gotcha.
from the organization.
Got you. I can say pressure regardless, whether it comes from him within himself or his own pride or from an organization. I think there's some sort of pressure there. I kind of can sense it. I can kind of feel it, because of their situation, right? So I think that's the case. But as far as how it affects the Knicks, I don't think that it affects the Knicks much. Miami just becomes another player that you got to kind of watch out for. If Pat Riley is going to go out and get Giannis Antetokounmpo, then what's next? What else is coming down the line? So you can't ever sleep on Pat Riley in that regard. But in the interim and in the immediate, I'm not really too concerned if Miami picks up Giannis.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I think it still becomes an uphill battle. I wouldn't write them off by any stretch of the imagination, just given, the Heat culture, the Miami
Right,
history, Pat Riley, and the way he's been able to motivate guys in the past. Like
right,
I said earlier, even guys that haven't had the stature or the name, you know what I mean? He seems to
right.
elevate these guys. You know what I mean? Almost
And
like
let's not forget about Spoelstra either. Spoelstra is
oh
man, he's
100%,
yeah, he's something
100%.
else. He's something else.
So, but yeah, I agree 100%. Shout out to Jason Benjamin. Appreciate the super chat. He said, "If I'm Miami, I'm not giving up Khalil Ware for Giannis. That would be suicide, in my opinion. But hey, that's their problem. uh, uh, they
Giannis
not gonna
Antetokounmpo
scare me.
going there doesn't
Yeah,
scare him. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't scare me.
So I think Khalil Ware, if I'm not mistaken, there was some sort of rift in the media with Khalil Ware and Spoelstra, him not getting enough time or something like that. So that was the thing. So, I think that's probably why Khalil Ware. But also, Khalil Ware and Giannis won't fit together. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just those two don't go together at all. So it's an easy. I think you can easily swap Khalil Ware for Giannis. I mean, if I'm glad we're not. But if the Knicks were in that situation, yeah, I would give up Khalil
Yeah,
Ware
yeah.
for Giannis easily. Not even a question. It's not even. Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Especially because I think if I'm Miami, I'm putting Giannis at the 5 more often than not anyway.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, you kind of have to if you pair him with Bam. So
Right. Yep.
yeah, I agree. He is not stopping that trade. If it was my decision,
Right.
you know what I mean. I kind of make him a sweetener. I wouldn't put his name out there first.
Right.
You know what I mean. I try to trick you into thinking I wanted him, but he wouldn't hold up anything. The Celtics, on the other hand,
Right.
I wanted to clip up they shooting by Nas. They scared. They running. Look. They scared. But you know what I mean. Maybe I'll save that for like a little short down the road. But yeah. I mean, Windhorst said it himself. You know what I mean. The Celtics didn't believe had they beat the 76ers, they would have beat the Knicks. Obviously, we beat them the year before. He mentioned concerns about the Pacers and their return, how they return. The Jalen Brown live stream after elimination. Let's start there because as Knicks fans, we ain't really talk about it much. Maybe behind the scenes. What was your thoughts on that live stream he did, Jalen Brown, after the elimination? Referencing this being his favorite year, he got to be a lead guy, and I thought it got blown out of proportion a little bit.
That's where I was going with it, Tony. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
considering now, was it bad timing? Probably. You
Right.
know what I mean? Could he have put more context? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But the expectations coming into the year for the Celtics was not high. You know what I mean? The projections were not good. So that, on top of the fact that he led them to the number 2 seed, for the most part, Jason Tatum had a late return. I think he was talking more about that, him maybe even learning something about himself or
Right.
proving something to himself. You know what I mean? More so than it just being about Tatum not being there. You know what
Right.
I mean? That was a part of the context,
Right.
but it was about what he was able to accomplish while
Right.
Tatum was
And the
was not
team,
there.
what the team was able to accomplish, being able to come in the second seed
Absolutely.
because they got written off because Tatum was down. Yep.
Now and again, had he said, which maybe he did, it's a clickbait world. I didn't watch the whole thing. You know what I mean? But if he put more emphasis on the team and how the team stepped up and his counterpart stepped up, maybe it wouldn't have been looked at as such a selfish take. And I get the timing of it. Had it been a Knicks player in that same situation, I'm sure it would have been split the same way as far as the fan base and how they looked at it. But me personally, outside looking at it, I didn't take a big deal out of it. And it seems like you agree. That being said, do you think that had anything to do with them making the decision to say, hey, maybe we should move on?
I think it's a combination of what you said and to piggyback what I mentioned on the last time I was on your show in regards to the media and that pressure and that perception, right? Like, and I'm going to say this again. I believe the big national sports media has a direct effect on what the players, like the superstar players, decide to do, what they decide to do as far as player movement. And I am not a big fan of it. I think it's hurting the NBA when you have superstars constantly changing teams, left and right every single year. It seems like every year you have a top 10 player in the NBA go to a different team. And I think the media has a large impact on that. Not to mention the media and a lot of people in NBA circles really don't like Jalen Brown like that. They don't like how he moves around, how he, I guess, articulates himself. But there's some sort of beef there. There's something there with that. So I think everything you said in regards to his comments on his live stream and how the comments may have been taken out of proportion by the media, in addition to the media trying to split up Tatum and Brown, in
For
addition to
years.
for years, in addition to them wanting Giannis to get out of Milwaukee because that's not as big of a market as Boston or Miami, right? And Giannis isn't, his legacy is somehow tainted if he doesn't win another ring. There's that. All of those forces are combined, right? So I think all of that is mostly that, and I think that contributes to why those comments may have got blown out of proportion. Because really, a lot of people don't like Jalen Brown for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's too black or too proud or
Mm.
whatever the case may be. I'll say it. I can say it on this. Maybe that's the reason. So I think it's mostly that. And what was the second part to your question? I think that's how I feel about that. Why they kind of dangling him out there. Yeah, I don't know what the other part.
No, I think you answered it. If
Right.
yeah, if you thought his live stream had anything to do with the Celtics pretty much wanting to move on, because I feel like this. I feel like I know a lot of people say he's not going to want to go to Milwaukee. I don't think he's going to fight to get out of Milwaukee if he's moved there. I think he's.
Why wouldn't he want to go to Milwaukee though? I don't understand why he wouldn't. He doesn't seem like
he wouldn't.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type of player to be like,
Well, if the narrative is correct, and he wants more recognition,
right,
and more stardom, he'll have the opportunity to produce on the floor and raise his numbers and things of that nature. But the looks, he's digressing. You know what I mean? The eyes
right,
on him, he's digressing. So you know what I mean?
right,
So if
right,
he's trying to elevate his stature in the league, if he wants to be considered again top 5 in the MVP voting, you know what I mean? It's
right,
not going to be as easy. Number one, being in Milwaukee as a comparison to
right,
Boston. You know what I
right,
mean? We just had this whole market talk
right.
earlier. You know what I mean? That's a huge difference. And the Antetokounmpo had to build his stature there. It's
Right.
not like he came
He
in
was
there,
drafted within the organization. Right.
but it's not even like he was drafted as a highly touted prospect, or
Right.
he had the reputation of Wimbyama coming to the
Right.
States.
He was
You know what I mean?
15th overall.
He
Still
was
needed
a
some work. He
project.
was raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, I think Jalen Brown will literally, even though he has more of a name currently, I think he would literally have to do that all over again.
And that's if you, that's and you're saying that if the narrative were to be true, right?
if the yes.
Right. So
Yes.
I asked the question because I don't believe that narrative to be true. I think it's blown out of proportion. So that's why I asked the question, why would he want to leave? I'm not really into like the whole narrative, or I'm not of the mindset of that narrative being that like he's a selfish player and he wants to have all of all of it himself, and like that. I'm not feeding into that as much. I think that's it's a little bit of that there, just a little bit of pride or whatever, but I don't think that's what he was really driving at. I mean, we spoke about it when we brought up the topic. I thought he was really talking about like for himself and where the team went and things of that nature. And so I don't really feed into that narrative as much about him making it about himself, if that makes sense. So I don't think he'll want to leave Milwaukee or cause drama there, and I don't think that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he will, because I think he'll take it as an opportunity.
Right.
I'm just acknowledging that for him to become a bigger name than he already is currently,
Right.
it's going to be an uphill battle. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? It's going to take. This is a team that already won a championship. You know what I mean? So
right.
it's not even like you go in there and you like that's the bar, because the bar was
Right.
already set.
Right. Not to mention they got to build a team around them now. They have to build a team to win games, right?
Yep.
And then the MVP talk will start happening, right? So that has to happen too. So yeah, I definitely get that. Definitely understand that.
What are your thoughts on Giannis and Tatum and the fit? Pardon me, I'm trying to
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm just trying to move the chat so I can
Well,
get to a
I
super
mean,
chat.
I think that fit is much better than the Miami one. I'll tell you that for sure. I think that definitely helps the Celtics. But at the same time, I also think it hurts the Celtics because this is a wing league, right? And now you're breaking up two of the the top two wings in the game that play with each other. We were calling them Jordan and Pippen a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Like you're breaking that up. And the Knicks built the roster based off of that, the wing, having that wing depth. So now you're breaking that up. Yeah, you had a player like Giannis, right? So you're gonna have to come with a whole different style of offense. Hopefully they don't shoot as many damn threes as they shot over the past couple years. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not gonna really work. It all just depends on who Boston gives up in the trade, but I still think Boston it still will still be a formidable team if they get rid of Brown and add Tatum. I just think they would have to. Get rid of Brown and add Giannis. I just think they would have to change up their offense and run something totally different. And that's yet to be seen. But yeah, I still think they'll be a they'll be a threat.
Yeah. Shout to JB again. He said Jalen Brown's my favorite non-Nick player in the league. He's pro-black, outspoken. Most non-melanated people in media and league dislike that, in my opinion. That's the same thing Josh was saying. He doubling down on that sentiment. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I'm just waiting for it to not be an opinion. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for some concrete evidence of it, but I believe that as well, 100%. Um, let Here's my thing with the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla and that team. Do they pivot from their style of play with Giannis?
They,
Because to me,
they would
for
have
it to
to.
be effective, yes,
Yeah.
but it also seems like over the course of the past couple years, he's been kind of stubborn in that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Setting the ways, live and die by the three, regardless of who's in and who's out, regardless of the circumstances of the particular game. You know, if the media is questioning him about the strategy, he's doubling down on it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
do they try to do they try to have Giannis fit their system, or do they change the system? And if they're
You got to change
changing
the
the
system.
system,
Right.
if they're changing the system, I think that comes with growing pains, right? I think that comes with um needing time to build chemistry and maybe losing some of the chemistry that was already in place and built with the guys that are remaining on that team. If you're switching up philosophies, something that you didn't even seem to have tried, even
Right.
in a situational um, opportunity. It was always live and die by it. So again, even though I'd like to fit better, I think if they develop just a two-man game, it could be one of the most dangerous two-man games in the league,
No question.
especially given Jason Tatum's size. You know what I mean? That's a
They got
different take.
Anthony Simons too. Don't forget about him. Portland, young boy. That came from Portland. Remember they traded for him in the Drew
I
Holiday
thought they
trade.
moved him. I thought they moved him during the season.
Simons. Simons
Yeah,
did they?
I'm pretty sure they moved him.
I'm not really sure, but I thought he was still in the Celtics. But yeah, yeah, you're right though. One of the most dangerous two man games, and I think it will take some time to adjust. But I don't think it'll be something that's like going to take seasons. I mean, look, the Knicks traded Karl-Anthony Towns for Randall for Karl-Anthony Towns, right? I don't think it was it was some growing pains a little bit, but the Knicks still won 50 games and were able to do that because they had the majority of the team together. I don't think Boston. I don't think it'll be anything prolonged for Boston. I think happen during the season. You'll see some growing pains. Um, but I do think there is a question on if the coach is willing to change Joe Mazzulla. We don't really know too much about him. He's been running the same system. He's pretty much had the same guys. And even when he lost Porzingis, he still was running the same system. Um, but without Porzingis, that hurt them, obviously. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of growing pains, but I still think Boston would be dangerous if they were to make that move. And one last thing that I forgot to mention about the whole Jalen Brown dynamic, this is Boston we talking about. So him being pro-black and all that, I don't think that
I
jives
mean,
too well with that. You know what I mean? So there's that too. Like
there is that 100%,
yeah,
and that's why I agree. I wasn't saying he wouldn't want to be in
yeah,
Milwaukee.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
saying
yeah.
like he'll take the opportunity. I was just almost like a PSA for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is your opportunity, but you
Yeah,
also losing a lot.
yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot that you had in your like the grass is not always greener,
Right.
basically.
Yeah. He himself becomes on the clock now. Like he
Mm-hmm.
has to. He has to. Like you know what I mean. Like for
And
the
and
perception.
let's not forget the opportunity he had with Tatum out was all great. You had to step up. You did your thing. You did great, but you also did that with 10 other guys that was already accustomed to playing with you.
Right.
You, you know, this is what I mean. You go into a new
Right.
team, you starting from scratch. You got to learn your teammates' habits. They got to learn your habits. You got a new
Right.
coaching system that you got to figure out. You know what I mean? They got to figure out. So you know what I mean? I hope he don't think he's just gonna hit the ground running and be top 5 in MVP voting on a brand new situation. It ain't
Right.
impossible, but it's not. It's improbable.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. But again, I mean, I just don't feed into that narrative. I think a lot of this is blown way out of proportion. I think it's forced because of all the elements that I mentioned. So I don't think he'll do that. Even if the trade does happen and he becomes a part of that trade, I don't think that's his mentality, right? Because I don't think that's the way he was thinking. You know, I don't think that was the main thing that he was thinking that is causing all of this anyway. I just think that there's a lot of fluff in there because of the circumstances, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think either way, for both Miami and for Boston, if either one of those teams get Giannis, I still think the Knicks are, because of the chemistry and everything. I think we are still who we are, right? And I think we have that mentality that's been built up for years. I think that we will be the favorites, if anything, um, moving forward, at least in the intermediate, in the immediate. Sorry. So I'm not concerned.
Chips and Dip said, "Y'all need Brunson on the show. I got you. Jalen's my guy. Set it up.
Oh, let's go. Let's
Set it
go.
up. Yo, blackisttime at gmail.com.
Let's go.
Um, I know you gotta go, so I got two topics real quick, two aspects. One, how much of a leverage play do you think Milwaukee is pulling? You know, I'm assuming they leaked the information on the last two options, the last two teams, and maybe trying to make them bid against each other. And if they are the last two teams or the only two teams, how much of that do you think is Milwaukee already fielded all the offers that they could, or they're trying to get the most they could get, but also appease Giannis? Because I know one of the reports was Giannis did not want to get traded to the West. He wanted to stay on the East Coast. And to me, if I'm the organization, I'm giving you, if you got a list of things, now I'm telling you, you got to put them in, you got to prioritize them now. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because we still got to get the best thing for us. And if the best thing for us is in the West, you know what I mean? So
Right.
how important is it for you to stay on the East Coast? Okay, if we're gonna abide by that rule and keep you on the East Coast, you know what I mean? That's half the league that we can't negotiate with, we can't talk with,
Right.
and or are those? Do you think those are the teams that field the best offers, and now they narrowed it down to those two teams?
Well, I mean, they're definitely not the teams with the best offers, because the best offers. If I'm in Milwaukee's situation, I'm looking for draft picks, right? And Boston nor Miami are not in the best draft pick situation, so they're not
Well. We don't know who else they spoke to. You know what I mean? They might
right.
still be the best offers of the people they spoke to. We didn't hear, oh, they turned down such and such from somebody else.
No, no, I say that because just in the general, like just without even thinking about, because you mentioned the league and half the league ends in the East. I'm talking about just the possibility, right? Like whether we don't, because we don't know who they spoke to or whatnot. But I'm saying for Milwaukee's sake, Boston, Boston and Miami could not have offered them the best as far as who was in the league and the draft picks that are available. For example, so OKC, for example, if OKC wanted to make a bid, whether they did or did not,
Mhm.
they would
Yeah,
have
they would.
probably the best.
Yeah, they
Right,
could go. They could pretty much probably target and go get anybody in the league, other than maybe 5 to 10 players that the teams aren't even gonna talk about.
right,
But yeah, if
right,
they wanted to target somebody, they could go
right.
go get it done. I
So,
agree with that.
so to answer your question about whether it's more of them trying to appease Giannis, I think it's a little bit of both. I think they are looking for the best deal for themselves. They have to. I think they are doing some sort of a bidding war. I think the teams that were interested in Giannis that we heard about earlier were Golden State. I think it was more it was Golden State, Miami. I don't remember hearing Boston before. I don't remember hearing Boston before, but who knows? But Golden State and Miami were the two teams, and I think as far as draft picks are concerned, I'm not really sure out of the Golden State and Miami who's better or whatever. Like as far as that, I got to check out the draft pick situation. But I think it's them also trying to appease Giannis and sending him to a team that he can compete on. Miami, they're not really a contending team right now, but it's an organization that is prioritizing winning, right? So I think that's that situation there. And Boston is Boston now. They won a championship 2-3 years ago. So I think those are the situations right there. I think, if it ain't going to be New York, right, it's going to be those two teams in the Eastern Conference at least that can accommodate the situation that Milwaukee's looking for. So I think it's a combination of both. Milwaukee doing what's best for them, making a bidding war, but also not sending Giannis to DC. You know what I'm saying? Not sending him there or to Charlotte or something like that.
if I'm the organization, I gave Giannis a list of my priorities and what I want in return, and then I'll take his list, and we're gonna have to figure something else. You know what I mean? Right. Like, because I'm like, if I'm an organization on my list, I want you to go to the West. You know what I mean? I only want to play you twice a year.
I don't want to deal with you. I want to deal with you. Yeah.
And maybe in the finals.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's probably number one on my list. Just because I don't want to watch you dominate. I don't want to watch you get a ring. I don't want to play you 4 times a year. Like all that is on the table when you know what I mean? So now if I'm going to give up my number one priority, now you're going to have to give up something on your list. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I'm negotiating. Right. So I'm wondering if it seems like they're taking care of him and keeping him in the East like he wants. I think Miami is rumored to have at least 3 first-round picks that they can give up. I don't know what the pick situation is with Boston.
Right.
Real quick before we get out of here, last thing. Does this I mean, they already was shitting on the Knicks and sleeping on us already, giving us what the 5th best odds to win the chip next year.
I think it's third.
It moved up because it was definitely 4 and 5 in the last couple of days.
I saw OKC and San Antonio ahead of us in the odds that ESPN put out.
Nah, they had Boston.
No. You know what? I think you might be right.
There too.
I think you might be right. I think it's 4th. Yeah, it's Boston. Yeah.
Okay. So you know what I mean. Now maybe this is Vegas or whoever having their ear to the streets and knowing maybe potentially Giannis is going there. But how do you think this changes our odds to repeat? Obviously either team would be more dangerous, but do you think it puts them in a better situation, or do you think it makes them better than the Knicks currently? And
okay,
this is assuming. I mean, this is ignoring the fact that we don't know if we're gonna have Mitchell Robinson moving forward. We don't know if we're gonna have, Clarkson moving forward. We don't know if we're gonna have Shamet moving forward, just because they're not under contract.
So your question is twofold, right? Your first part was about the odds, and the second part was, does that make us better? I'm going to answer the last question first. No, it doesn't make any one of those teams better than us. I don't think so. I think we have the chemistry. I think one of the biggest strengths of the Knicks and what made them the Eastern Conference favorite at the beginning of the season and when people were talking about it was because we had everybody coming back. You know what I mean? And not just the injuries to Halliburton and to Tatum, but we had everybody coming back, and it's going to be the same thing as far as the starting lineup is concerned next season, right? So I think that's that. I don't think that the move for Giannis in the East at least makes them better than the Knicks. As far as your first question with the odds, I'm going to answer that with a story. Remember when Cleveland got James Harden? When they got James Harden, the odds jumped for them out the through the roof, right? And I was telling people like, "Yo, I'm not worried about Cleveland." A lot of people weren't worried about Cleveland, but the odds in Vegas jumped up through the roof. They took the Knicks, and on top of that, the Knicks were also going through a little lull at the time. I think they played Cleveland in Cleveland, and they lost. That game or whatever. They were going through that little stretch where they weren't winning basketball games. So I think there's that. The odds are always going to change. I'm not worried about the odds like at all. If I'm Knicks fans right now, or let me put it like this: if I'm a betting Knicks fan, which I am, I'm putting my money on the Knicks to get back to the finals next season. While it's like that, while we're fourth or
Yeah,
fifth or whatever the case may be, I'm putting it
yeah.
in now because those
Best
odds are
best
going to
chip,
jump.
best time to do it, right?
Exactly.
It may not get any lower.
Exactly. So yeah, that's just that. But I think the Knicks are gonna go back to the finals next year. Um, you know, I think because we have that chemistry and we have everybody together, I think we're complete. We're a complete team. Um, guard depth, wing depth, front court depth. We signed Mitch. I think we're gonna sign Mitch back because we have the ability to go in the second apron and retain our players. I'm not worried about it about it, especially for this upcoming year. Now after that, with the
Mhm.
second apron and all of that, that's when. But for this season coming up, I think we get back to the finals.
Yeah, I don't see. I think it's a great chance we do. Number one, I don't think we've peaked yet. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yep.
we're just scratching the surface of who we really can be. Now it's hard to say that the way we played during that 13 game win streak. You know what I mean?
Right.
Part of that is our peak play, but you could tell it still wasn't 100% polished yet. You know what I mean? So I think
Right.
we still have more, like Queen likes to say, there's still more meat on the bone. You know what I mean? That we could get to in this new offense that we found. Think about this: we had to convert back to or revert back to a more Jalen Brunson centric offense
Yep.
in the finals. You know what I mean? Like, and that was due to their personnel.
Right.
More than
The matchup. The matchup
yeah,
who
yeah.
we're going against. Yeah.
Yep, it was the matchup made us have to change again. So the more little wrinkles we figure out over time, which I think there's still things to unlock. You know what I mean? Like OG, I was saying it all year. OG was different this year. OG was different this year. I could see it in his game, even though the numbers weren't astronomical or wasn't
Right.
consistent night in and night out. But when you condense it and you put him in the playoff setting, you know what I mean? It became a lot more consistent, and then it
And
popped out.
impactful too.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? You could see it a whole lot clearer in the condensed, you know, 6 game series, 4 game series, 4 game. Like you could see it a whole lot clearer. So I expect him to actually take a leap next year and play more consistently, like what we saw in this playoff run and championship run, than kind of what he's what he did throughout the whole season. Same with Cat and his sacrifice and being the hub. I expect to see a whole lot more of that and that get polished and more refined.
I agree with you with the fact about the offense being refined, like collectively, right? But as far as individual, outside of Brunson, I'm not really expecting, or I wouldn't be disappointed if individual numbers don't jump, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because coming into this season, I thought that was going to be Bridges. Bridges actually regressed individually,
Mm-hmm.
but the impact is still there. So I think that this team, over an 82 game season or whatever, what have you, I think they'll have individual players regress, but I think at the end of the day, as long as we're winning, I think that's really what my expectation. Now, would I be surprised if any one individual player takes a jump or whatever? Absolutely not. But it's not something that I'm like, and I'm not saying you are expecting this or
No,
or you are pressing about it, but I'm
no,
not.
I,
I'm
I
just
feel
like,
like I see it. I feel like I see it coming with OG in particular. Now,
right,
granted, to start the year, I was with you.
yeah,
I thought the biggest jump was going to come from Mikhail.
right,
First, pardon me, first 10 games or so, maybe even 20 games or so, it even looked like the biggest jump was coming from Mikhail
mm,
and Deuce.
right,
You know what I mean? And that might have been that might have been the initial stretch, or the that might have just been the start of what Mike Brown was implementing, and
right,
what he did to start the year. It might have benefited Mikhail and Deuce the most,
right,
but he said it himself. He he changed the offense in the season, and then he changed it again after game 3. So
right,
maybe that change that he made which again, that change he made in the regular season was also to appease Cat, if you will,
Right.
or to try to
Keep him
find
fed.
more,
Keep him fed.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean. So
Yeah.
so I still think there's a happy medium all across the board as far as OG taking another step. Mikal, I still believe he could take another step. You know what I mean? And then collectively as a team, I think we could polish this thing up even more. You know what I mean? What up, Sid?
Hey, what's going on, man? I didn't know it was just gonna put me in like that.
Oh, it's all good, man.
I expected
you
it to
always
put me in the
welcome.
waiting room. Yeah, I thought it was gonna put me in the waiting room.
You always welcome, my guy. You look
What's
sharp.
up, Sam?
What's up, Sam? Yeah, just taking a little break off of work. What's up, Josh?
Sam got the Father's Day pink on. You know what I'm saying? He got the Father's Day pink.
Man, I wear pink all the time. It ain't even just a father. I wear pink all the time. Trust me, I do.
My man.
So I see you was in the chat. You wanted to
You got an echo. You got a little echo, Tony.
Hold on for 1 minute. Let me try to get this echo out of here. Give me 1 second.
Father.
Hopefully,
Always welcome.
Okay. I think I should be better now.
Check. Yeah. Yep. We good.
Yeah.
Yep,
should be better now.
Hold on. You see, Jarrell says Sim got that championship glow.
Of course. How can you not? How can you not? Shoot. I see you were talking about. You were talking about the Giannis thing. You were talking about OG. I really think OG's going to take a jump this year. What we've seen in the playoffs, I think the playoffs solidified it for himself. That gave him the confidence to know that he is he's one of those guys that one of the main cogs offensively and defensively for this team. You know what I mean? I do. I think he's gonna. I think it's always been all about confidence for OG, and just believing that he's one of those guys. You know what I mean? And after these playoffs, I think he believes it.
100.
You know what I'm saying?
Sim, confidence and opportunity. Because if you remember when he got here, you know what I mean. That was his talks about.
Right.
I feel like I could do more. I feel like I could do more. You know what I mean? And he kind of got that opportunity. It was slowly, you know what I mean? But and some of it he might have had to take. You know what I mean? He might have had to. We're not going to give you these opportunities. You got to be assertive and go out there and get them and take them. So I think that's one of the biggest things, the biggest differences that we saw. I was saying it throughout the year, like it's something different. But I think in the playoffs, I agree. He solidified it.
Yeah.
And you can't go back.
Let me ask you, Sam. Let me ask you something. Do you think, because a lot of people were saying that when we signed OG, that he was overpaid? Is it a possibility that maybe the perception of OG right now around the league is that he's underpaid?
Underpaid? I'm not sure if people know. Yeah. Anybody knows, right? Because they know what he's been throughout his career. They could see some growth, but maybe not as consistent. And then you see what he did in the playoffs. I think people are probably waiting to see what happens next year to know if he's worth that much. You know what I'm saying? Right. To know if he's worth that much.
So I asked that question because, and I don't know, maybe it's just me. You know how I do. I always look further ahead, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the Knicks and their cap situation and everything like that. They're going to go into the second apron. Towns is looking for a new contract. I think that as of right now, if you look at the Knicks situation, let's say they next year they get to the playoffs, they make it or whatever, but they don't accomplish the goal. They're going to be cash strapped, right? And I feel like because of OG's contract, it's always continuous suit with the Knicks in the front office and what they do. If you're going to keep Cat and Brunson together as your main two, I think then OG will probably be that next contract to probably go for look for another fish. You know what I'm saying? Like a big fish with his contract with the amount of money he's making. That's why I asked
Right.
that question. You know what I mean? And I'm saying that just if the Knicks don't win it all next year, let's say that, and they want to get better and they want to keep this thing going and continue with Super, I think OG will probably be that, you know, especially if they give Cat his extension.
Yeah.
Real quick, no strays. You on the vertical stream? If you go out and go to the regular YouTube stream, it'll be fine. That always happens when I add a third person, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's a StreamYard thing. We'll send some emails and get it right. But no, continue as you were.
No, that was it. I was just mentioning that. You know, I'm thinking kind of further ahead. I'm sure the Knicks front office is also looking at this when they consider if they want to give Cat his extension now, because Cat is extension eligible right now. And Brunson, he's going to sign his for, you know, he got another 2 years before he signs his or whatever.
Now,
that's something they're going to have to consider. They're going to have to consider whether they want to pay Cat or not. Yeah.
Were you asking internally about the perception on OG, or were you talking about outside perception
around the league? Around the league, what's the perception?
I don't think they're even paying attention, because I've seen so many people, especially during this run that we've been on the Knicks, and then them, you know, people starting to watch the Knicks who obviously weren't really familiar with the Knicks over the past couple years, and then I've seen so many people in real time say, "Hey, OG's their second highest player. OG's making this amount." So I don't even think most people are aware outside of the organization, you know what I mean, the fan base, what he's making and how much he, you know what I mean, how high of a contract is that he's the second highest player. Most people don't know that he's getting more than Brunson.
Right.
You know what I mean? Most people aren't even aware of it and are surprised when they look it up. So I don't think they're looking at that part. I think they judge Cat's contract more. And then I think the perception of, you know, Jalen Brunson taking less money, which I always say he took the most he could. You know what I mean? At the time, you know what I mean, he could have waited to get more money, but you know, he took the most he could at the time.
Right.
So,
right.
but that perception has always been like, oh, you know, Brunson got them that money. Brunson allowed OG to get that money. Brunson allowed them to get Cat. No, we had the money to do it. Brunson got the most money he could. You know what I mean? And I think the smarter thing that no one really talks about is that he set it up so when it comes back around, he you know, he'll be in his 10th year and he could get that 35% max as opposed to the 30.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think if the front office has going to, you know, they have to make a decision on what they want to do with Cat and give him his extension. He definitely earned it, but they have to figure out, you know, if that's the route they want to go on. And I think, you know, like I said, the topic about OG, what he does next season is going to be huge. That's going to determine, you know what I mean, not just what he does, but what the team does. If they win the championship and OG has that type of year, I think you keep it going. There's no reason for you to make any type of moves or anything like that. But if they don't win the championship or like they fall short because of the cap situation and everything like that, that's just the nature of the beast. They're going to have to look at it, you know, because they're going to be strapped. Because they don't really have the picks and anything like that.
Let me ask you first, Josh, and then Sim, because I don't know. I know you on a schedule tight. Well, y'all probably both you on a lunch break, so you're probably both on a tight schedule. But
and my dog is wild now. He wants to go outside. So.
The Dolan coming out and saying that we're not going into the second apron. How much do you believe that? Because you still talking second apron like you ain't hear what Dolan said, and I've heard other people say there's no way that we can't go into the second apron. Whether it's keeping Mitchell Robinson or not, they, you know, people have said it's going to be very hard to stay under the second apron without filling the roster with minimum contracts. So,
so Dolan doesn't know. Dolan needs to be quiet. I know he's happy. You know, there's something about rich people. They got their own circle or whatever. They just decide to say what they want to say without really knowing what the hell they're talking about. So, you know, It's cool. But he doesn't know what he's talking about. If this team wants to stay together completely, they're going to go into the second apron. And the second apron is designed like that so teams can retain their own talent. That's why the second apron is there. It's not just for teams that are looking to go out and get free agents and stuff like that. So there's that. And let's say even no, for the sake of what happened here?
That's just me trying to just keep on talking, man. The spotlight's on you, baby.
Nah. But I think that like if everything stays the way it is right now, and let's say the Knicks if they don't want to bring back Mitch, if they don't want to bring back Shannon, which I'm sure they're going to bring them back, then technically yes, the Knicks are not going to be in the second apron, right? And Alvarado signs his player option and everything like that. They're not going to be in the second apron, but.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you kicked him out.
I ain't mean to kick him out.
Oh, there you go. You back.
Yeah, we were talking a bunch of stuff though, so you know how that goes.
Oh, whatever, Sam. whatever. But yeah, that's the point. Dolan doesn't know what he's talking about. I think the Knicks are going to go into the second apron no matter what. Now, for this upcoming season, but after that, we'll see what happens after that.
My only thing with that would be
if Dolan put a hard stance on, like what is Leon to do?
Yeah, Dolan's the owner. So if he decides he doesn't want to go into the second apron,
I don't believe him, Sam. That's what I'm saying.
And he gives the directive to Leon Rose to not go into the second apron. And what can Leon Rose do? But try to convince him, to go into the second apron. I can kind of understand not going into the second apron.
Why?
Because there's so many restrictions on your team that may not allow you to upgrade if you need to upgrade.
That's not necessarily true for this situation, Sam. This team is
coming.
I'm going to tell you why. Because this team is coming off a championship, right? Okay. I think for this upcoming season, you're not really looking to bring any outside talent anyway. For this upcoming season, that's not what you're looking to do. So going into the second apron really won't affect the Knicks that much because they're going to keep the same team together. They're not going out for anything outside. That's why I said the following season.
Maybe. See, right. You're speaking to absolutes, like no one will ever get hurt or anything like that, right? Let's just say someone did get hurt, and then you had to make a move, and you couldn't.
You're restricted.
And
there's still veterans minimum contracts. There's still that. I'm talking about free agency, or a trade or something like that. I don't think the Knicks are going to make a big major trade next season. There's veteran. If somebody gets hurt, that's how they bought in Jose Alvarado. They made a little trade, gave him the veterans minimum or whatever.
Right. I got it. They made a little trade, but I think you keep as much flexibility as possible.
And this is where I was going. I think when you say Dolan doesn't know what he's talking about, I think he misspoke in the sense that the real restrictions come after multiple years, right? Or there's restrictions once you're in the second apron, but the penalties come after multiple years, which is why you've seen Indiana dip in, dip out. You've seen the Celtics get in when the chip, get out. Once Tatum got hurt. So my question is, do they go in it? Like, I'm hoping he misspoke as opposed to just don't understand. He obviously understands the second apron and the implications of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I think it's what Sim's saying. I think Leon Rose has to convince him at the very least, let me get in the second apron this year and attempt to run it back. You know what I mean? And then I could try to finagle my way out of it, make some moves to get out of it. Because on the flip side of what you said, Sim, if that's what Dolan said and that's what he means and that's the law, we losing players that were on this team that helped us win the chip.
Possible.
We're not only do we're not have the opportunity to get better, but we're technically getting worse.
I just think that if the Knicks decide to go into the second apron this year, they will have the same restrictions, the same ones they had last season. It's not going to change anything for them. Like the second apron this upcoming season does not affect the Knicks any more than it did last season. So that's what I'm saying. It's okay to get in the second April next year. You can bring back all your guys. After that, after this upcoming season's done, that's when it becomes okay. You got to see what you're going to do. That's why I brought up the continuous soup thing in OG Anunoby's contract. They have to figure out what they want to do with Cat. You know what I mean? But to Sim's point, if somebody gets hurt, they can do the same thing that they did this particular year with Alvarado or whatever. And if somebody gets hurt, they can just still use some of the same roster. They have the depth.
I mean, depending on who and how much.
Somewhat, yeah.
We're not talking about Deuce, who made $4 million. There's a big difference.
Right.
Oh man, I hope he pays the tax or whatever he gotta do to keep this team together at the very least this 1 year. Give him a chance to repeat. And you know what? If you repeat, maybe you want to start making history now. You know what I mean? Maybe you bite the bullet.
And also you don't know what conversations. James Dolan is like he's like a Trumpian. You know what I'm saying? They could have had conversations where Leon Rose was like, "No, you know what? I can do this, and this, and avoid it." And so he comes out and says, "I'm absolutely not going to sign to go into the second apron," knowing that Leon Rose already told him, "Well, I can do this, and this. Here's what we can do." You know what I'm saying? Who knows?
But the team is going to look like this.
But the team is going to look like this, right?
And he might not even heard that part.
Right. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Because he's one of those people that will just like, say something to make it like it's his idea, and it's not even. You know what I mean?
The narcissistic side of Dolan.
Exactly. He's one of those guys.
Hey, this is what I'm gonna say to Dolan. The way you raise them ticket prices, not just this year, you know what I mean?
Word.
The way the ticket prices has skyrocketed under Leon Rose's tenure with the success, you should have enough money to kind of go into the second apron. We sacrifice, Now, granted, I didn't go to as many games as I usually go to, especially home games. But I still went to some home games. You know what I mean? And I paid the premium. You know what I mean? And I was assuming that's that premium that we pay to get to these games more and more every year is covering, offsetting some of the costs.
I mean, he's got enough money anyway.
No, I know, but
the only thing
he got enough money to not raise them ticket prices too.
Right.
Supply and demand capitalism. You know how that works.
But also, I think I obviously I don't know, but they're building that a sphere in Abu Dhabi. Maybe he's trying to save money for that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, who knows? I don't know. But that's entirely possible though, right? That he's trying to save money for that. I don't know. Because normally he never came out and said anything about that. Things like that. He just as far as paying money, how many coaches is he paying right now?
And he's always been kind of on the opposite side of that. You know what I mean? Like that was one, as much as people don't like Dolan and talk bad about him, that was one of the one things you could always say night in and night out, or day in and day out.
I know one thing. If that sphere gets built in Abu Dhabi over there in the UAE, his net worth is it's going to be like
I'm getting A-Rab money.
Oh my goodness! Like UAE, all that stuff. Everything's happening over there now. Like as far as big promotional sporting events and stuff like that.
Yeah, for real.
Man. Whew. Wow.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting off season.
I'm fine if Tony. I think you muted.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
my daughter came for the car keys. JB, he said, I'm fine. Appreciate the super chat. I'm fine if Dolan doesn't want to go into the second apron. Our core 5 is still here and healthy. Play Kolick, play Dadier, resign Diawara, 3 picks, also play youth. My question to you, JB.
No.
My question to you, JB. Are your expectations the same moving forward? Or are you just content getting this first ring? Because I'm trying to repeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to
So,
repeat.
I mean, I'm trying to repeat too. I mean, so Jose Alvarado has a player option.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if he's going to take it or decline? We'll see. I guess we'll see that. I don't even know how much it is. Right.
I think it 8 million, maybe.
Okay. I mean, if it's 8 million, he might. I mean, I don't know if he's getting more than that on the market.
And I mean, he could decline the player option. He could opt out of the player option and then get
Four and a
a
half.
longer
Four and a half million.
Oh,
Four and a half.
even
$4.5 million.
Yes.
So he
That's his player
money.
option.
Yeah.
You turn that down, we might be able to say, hey, we'll give you 3 for, you know what I mean? 3 for 12. It's the same money. It's just security.
Well, he's looking for exactly. Alvarado's the type of player that's looking for some long-term stability. So, and because we won a championship, he's playing at home. I think that's something he'll be more inclined to do.
Oh, he'll want to. He's going to want to stay home.
Yeah.
Right. So, but as far as the cap is concerned, that's something that's good for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether he takes the player option or not, particularly for next season. If you do a 3-year, 12 or 15 or something like that, that works, right? That's something that we can do. But as far as everybody else,
it's
really
about
Shamet and Mitch.
Shamet and Mitch.
Yeah.
It's really about those two.
You know what I mean? And whether Clarkson wants to take a vet minimum for a full season.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I honestly think I maybe based on his history, maybe he could get more money. I don't know, but then also,
I'm sure he could get a little more. But he might like this. He might like this team. He might like.
Like this team and winning. He won a championship, or maybe he's. I guess it's going to depend on if he's looking for a bigger role.
And I could see him
maybe
not even playing much longer. You know what I mean? After winning the chip, it might be a lot easier to say, hey, you know what? Let me go out on top.
Right. I mean,
the veterans minimum doesn't count against the actual salary cap. FYI.
Doesn't count against the cap, right? Doesn't count against the cap. Right. I think if we didn't re-sign Jordan Clarkson, you got Mo Diawara that can step in there, I think.
Right.
And play minutes. Or Tyler Kolek. Right. So I think that would be there. And then what's the light-skinned kid off the bench?
Kevin McCullough.
Kevin McCullough. Yeah. I think Kevin McCullough could step in there and place and hoop for you.
Yeah, he can.
What I mean?
The biggest question
I think he could step in.
The biggest question is
it's really
because does Hapurdy bring enough to cover Mitch's absence?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna slight Shamet's value.
No, not at all. Not at all.
As far as the shooting,
not at all. You might be able to get Shamet on a low contract, but for a number of years because he's been always on the bubble every year, right?
So just the guarantee might be able to satisfy his
might
appetite.
be able to satisfy him. just the guarantee that he's got a contract for 3 years or something might be able to satisfy him. So you're talking about Mitch.
So basically, Mitch is the only thing that's determining whether the Knicks go into the second apron or not. That's
Mitch
basically what it comes down to. Basically.
That's what I think it comes down to is Mitch. Yeah. If you go into it, and the Knicks got a 24th pick, a 31st pick, and a 50 whatever tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think 55th.
Ain't it crazy that it seems like the draft came just like that?
That's what happens when you play into June.
Because we played deep into June, not thinking about the draft, and now all of a sudden it's like, damn, the draft is right here. It's crazy.
The league year starts July 1st, so all this stuff we're talking about, I think we'll hear something on July 1st or somewhere around there. So after the draft, yeah.
Crazy. And then
Andy said, "Who's the guy in the middle of the screen with the pink salmon polo?"
That's the Dom, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Shout out to DJ Shuttle. He's the guy that just sends me random random guys that the Knicks are looking at, or guys that he thinks that the Knicks should be looking at. But I haven't done much research at all. Honestly, at this point, the track record speaks for itself, especially them second round picks. I trust whoever we snatch up. If we snatch somebody up, I wouldn't be surprised if that first round pick gets traded, because that's a guaranteed contract.
Yeah,
Like
it's money. Yep.
that's going into the salary cap. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's like a $4 million contract. So that guy that could be $4 million for Mitch. If we talk about
Right.
bringing somebody in at the 21st pick, or having an extra $4 million for Mitch, I'll take the extra $4 million and see what else we could scrape up to keep him satisfied. But yeah, I don't see us not going into the second apron. If we don't, and we let Mitch go and we let Shamet go, it's gonna be tough, man. Like, I can't get too mad because we just won. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not gonna let it damper my joy for this entire season and getting to call everybody champ. But I'm definitely gonna be. I'm not shooting Dolan no more bail after that. You know what I mean? Like, I've been kind of shooting him
Oh, I
down
am.
over
Oh, I am.
over the years.
I mean, listen. I'm
Nah,
not the biggest Dolan fan. I
listen.
give
It's
him
been
credit for the speech and everything like that, and
the
all of that
speech
stuff.
was great. I thought the speech was
Yeah.
cleaning up the whole game 3 thing that I never wanted to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was a perfect thing to hold in the back pocket. You know what I mean? Let it out after the chip. You know what I mean? Get some extra you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some extra good thoughts on you. But he continues to keep just either saying something or doing
At
something that
the parade
I
thing,
don't think
man.
I
I was
know.
just
It's
like,
like, yo, he can't help himself. He just can't help himself. And you know that, Josh. I've never been the guy to go at Dolan like that. Like, I try to find a positive in something that he's done.
don't worry,
Man,
I'm that mouthpiece. I'm that mouthpiece. I don't have much to say now because we just won the chip and the speech and everything like that. But like I said, I just when billionaires like that, they something with their circle. They just think they're like this, whatever. But Tony, listen, look, I don't think that the Knicks going into the second apron really hurts them this year. It really doesn't. They're going to be
you
in the same
said
situation.
you said going in.
Going into the second apron, the 2026-27 season does not hurt the Knicks any more than it did this particular season. It does not hurt them. Afterwards is when it's going to
Okay,
hurt. You know what I'm
not
saying?
going
So,
into the second apron hurts the Knicks. That's where
yes,
I'm that's
yes.
where I'm
Not
concerned.
going into the second
Yeah, I'm
apron
not.
and not bringing the players back. Yes, that hurts the Knicks. So they should do everything they can to give Mitch this contract or whatever. Give it a year. Let's see if it works out that way. And if not, then you have pieces you can be able to move at that point. You know what I mean? You can do that at the end of next season. You know what I'm saying? Especially when players are going to be requesting contract extensions and stuff like that. There's signing trades you can be able to do and all that.
Did you hear the
Well,
reports that players are mad at Brunson? Remember your thoughts, son. But that players around the league are mad at Brunson because now owners are asking them to, resign early and leave money on the table. I put the air quotes in because that's not what he did. What's your guys, if you heard it or not? But what's your guys' thoughts on that? Owners using Brunson as an example to get guys to get sign their extensions early rather than later and save the team some money.
who would be mad at him? Who's mad at him for that?
Other players.
Other players,
It's
because now
probably
the owners are using it a
Oh,
negotiating tool.
with the players union. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably the players association, the players union that's upset,
Mm-hmm.
right? They hate it when players do things like that because it hurts, especially if they win. Then it hurts. It hurts everything that they're fighting for to get the players more money and all that kind of stuff, right? But I mean, but when you look at it, he's going to have the ability to sign one of, if not the richest contract ever. And how would the Knicks be able to say no?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Right. So on the flip side, when he signs that contract, then some players might look and say, "Oh, okay, I get it. If I do that, I can sign a bigger contract later."
Right.
Right. And I don't know, but I guess, maybe it doesn't work for everybody.
I mean, nothing works for everybody though.
Nothing
Because
works
if
for everybody.
you know what I mean? Like you look at LeBron signing the 1+1s continuously, like nobody else is going to be allowed to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the team is not going to take that as a negotiation.
Right.
So everything that, and people were mad at LeBron for that, but that was his leverage to use. You know what I'm saying? The Brunson thing is, I get why they're upset. My thing is, you can't be mad at him. He did it, and he did it right because he got the chip.
Yeah.
The concern is you do that, you take the pay cut, and you don't win, right?
Right.
That's that's where the risk comes in.
Right.
But if he didn't win, then I think the being upset is more valid.
Right.
But he won. So now the thing becomes on both ends, for the player taking the or re-signing early, and for the organization pushing that player to do it. Y'all both collectively, y'all gotta win. and that cures everything. But if you don't win, now the player's like, damn, man, I could, you know what I mean? I could have had an extra 60 in 3 years.
Right.
And if the organization pays you, and then it's like, oh, we could have brought in this guy. So my thing is, whichever one you choose, you just gotta win.
Yeah, and like Jarrell was saying in the chat, just say no. Okay, so what? They ask you the question, say no, and that's it.
Yeah, and players have said no without being asked.
Right, exactly.
Right, and you don't even have to say no in person. Your agent will say no for you.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's not. Yeah.
Your agent will say no.
That's just something the owners are putting out there. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Anybody worried about that?
Yeah.
They're gonna get paid no matter what. So.
And the fact that Brunson did that, a lot of that had to do with timing too. Again, so he could get that 10-year mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be available at that 10-year mark.
Yeah.
Now this is
I was gonna say earlier. What if the whole thing with the apron was just a message to Mitch's agent? Because when it boils down to it, it's about Mitch.
Right.
Right. What if the whole thing is a message to Mitch's agent? Like, nah, we're not gonna do it. We're not going over this. So, I mean, I don't know what Mitch could take for them to not go over that, but because I haven't really had time to look at the math. But
if that's the message, though, I still don't like it.
Right. I don't think it gives the Knicks any leverage.
Yeah,
I don't think it gives them any leverage.
Don't negotiate. Don't negotiate. Number one, Dolan don't negotiate.
Period.
Right. Like end the sentence. And two, don't negotiate in the media. You know what I mean? Like we've been a lot cleaner than that over the last couple of years.
Right.
Where nothing is getting leaked, nothing is getting published. You know what I mean? Now, could somehow that be misdirection? You know what I mean? I rather like kind of deep dive or think about that. Can it be some misdirection where now you putting a number out there for other teams that have, hey, if y'all want him, y'all gonna have to give him this much. You know what I mean? But I don't even know if that helps because the interest in Mitchell Robinson is there regardless.
That's where I was going with that. He can start in center he can start in center on any team in this league.
Yeah.
The Lakers need him. The Lakers can use a starting center. Please, they can use one. You know what I'm saying? So can Golden State. So I don't know how much leverage that gives the Knicks at all. He's going to be wanted around the league, coveted for his offensive rebound ability, defense, and stuff like that. No question about it. No question about it. Matter of fact, I thought the Lakers were going to try to make a move for him last year, or 2 seasons ago. But yeah, there's a market for
How,
Mitch, no question about it.
how much of the restrictions the Knicks put on him do you think was strategic in just limiting his potential output? Now this is not discrediting that,
Yeah,
there was real concern and wanting to make sure that he was healthy, in the playoffs. But it could have been some strategy in that, in saying, hey, restrict his minutes, restrict his games played. You know what I mean? Lower his value going into free agency, and maybe maximize his value for us in at the
Yeah.
same time.
I mean, I think, you know, I mean, I think that could have happened. You know what I'm saying? That's the opportunity to, because of his injuries, you have the opportunity to do that. But the league also knows his injury history,
right.
you know, and
But do they deep dive enough to say, hey, was he available to play back to backs and you guys just held him out? Or like are other teams able to get that information and get it the truth? You know what I mean? Like
right,
that's what I wonder. Like if he only played such and such amount of games, that might be the only thing another organization sees. If he didn't play back to backs, you know what I mean? I don't know if there's merit to that or not. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the market for Mitch, I think is will overcome that. I think there's enough of a market because there's not many Mitchell Robinsons around. He's like you know what I mean? Like it's him, Steven Adams when it comes to offensive rebounding. And Steven Adams didn't play; he was out. You know what I mean? So I think the market for Mitch, I think overcomes that. I think a team will take a chance on Mitch and give him a contract, probably $15 to $20 million or whatever. I think a team is willing to do that. Um, So, and I think the lineup, like him not being, playing the back to backs, I think that's based on the injury. But I wasn't a fan of mixing the start lineup anyway with next to Cat. I was not a fan of the Twin Towers. I always wanted Cat to play the five because it stretched the floor and everything like that. And when he could, get on the floor, you do the Twin Towers lineup or whatever. But um, so I think that's what that was about. But I think the market for Mitch, because he's a one of a kind, like a dime a dozen type of player. I think it'll overcome the injury concerns and stuff like that. A team is going to want to take a chance on Mitch, in my opinion.
even with the free throw shooting, like Jason Benjamin saying, the injuries and the free
Yes,
throw shooting.
yes, yes, yes. At the 15 to $20 million number, yes, absolutely. That's
I
role
do
player
think
money.
that
I don't
I
know.
do I do think that's his range on
Yep.
what he can get in the open market, and I think 20 is probably the number that the Knicks don't want to touch. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I could see them starting at 18, which is still a raise from where he, you know what I mean, where he started his previous contract, even where he ended his previous contract, considering it was
Right.
descending. You know what I mean? I could see them do something starting at 18 and do descending again, but I could also see maybe not the Lakers per se, but I could see a team offer him 20, especially, and this could be that Knicks PTSD, but especially seeing how uh Hartenstein got the bag, and the bag was not a tribute to his true value, but as an incentive
Yep.
to keep him away from, oh, not even to keep him away from us, but you know what I mean, incentive so he didn't re-sign with us.
Well, I want to add to that, and Tony, I got to go after this, but I just want to put this last thing out there. Like, let's say the Knicks give him that number, right, and give give the contract to Towns and everything like that, and Knicks go into the second apron or what have you. And hopefully this is not the case, but the Knicks don't win the championship next year. They don't get anywhere even close. They can trade some of these big contracts to get out the second apron and just take back less money to get out the second apron. That's what they can do, and then rebuild that way, right? So again, but this particular season, I don't think it's really going to hurt the Knicks that much to retain all their players, give them the money that they want. I'm not saying completely overpay and whatever,
Yeah.
but for this particular season, it won't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Like you win the championship again. You know what I mean? Then you got to start doing some cost cutting moves, just like what Boston did. They were way well over the second apron. They cut Porzingis, got him out of there, took back less money. Got some picks back in return. Same with Drew Holiday. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. That's what the Knicks are going to have to do. But I still think for this particular season, it won't hurt them that much to go ahead and give Mitch the contract that he's looking for. Because if the Knicks don't want to pay it, they can pay it for this season. But after that, another team will definitely pay him that number as long as it's
I
reasonable.
agree. I agree. I hope
So,
they do it. I hope they
yeah.
do it.
Me too. But
Josh, man, I
yep.
appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
We'll keep talking over the summer. Once
Yes, sir.
I can speak on it now. I got a new job, so I'm relieving my old job in a couple weeks. I'm excited. Once I start the new job, it's weekends off. You know what I mean? For the first 3 months, all the weekends off. So that's
Nice.
when the shows will be done. Because I'm gonna have a strict schedule and getting going to bed on a good time and everything. But
Right.
I'm excited about this move, and
Congratulations,
yeah,
man.
man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad I could say it. I could speak on it now too. I was waiting until I gave my full 2 week notice and everything, but now I can speak on it. That capped off such a good 2026 so far. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Appreciate you, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Hit me up. You know what I mean? Whenever you got something you want to talk about, we'll see
Oh,
if
don't
we can
worry.
make it
Don't worry.
happen.
I got you. Don't worry. It's coming. I still got a lot more too. But take care, Tone. Sim, good to see you. And MBK all day. The family. What's good,
Yeah,
y'all? We
no doubt.
champions, baby.
Appreciate you, Josh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all take it easy. Later.
No doubt. JB, appreciate you with the super chat. He said, "No one is paying Mitch starting money, fellas. He's more valuable to us. He's injury prone and can't hit free throws. What's that worth in the open market?" I think people are gonna be willing to pay Mitchell Robinson based off of what he does more than what he doesn't do. I mean, I agree his value to us was tremendous, but I think that's seen throughout the league. I think I mean it's definitely seen throughout the league because they gotta strategize against it when they play against us. So I could see him getting 20. Uh Sherwood says Charlotte's gonna pay him 25. I think Charlotte's I think they'll be willing to pay him more than LA for sure. Sherman said LA will pay him 25. I don't know if LA will. I think LA is probably going to be in the same range on what we can pay him. Um, I was thinking about that. Who said it? Somebody mentioned Hartenstein. OKC moving them. I don't know if they're gonna. I think they would try to trade him before they try to move him, or what he got 7 or 8 million guaranteed out of the 28. I could see them doing that, but I could only see them doing that if they trying to make another move. I don't even think that's to re-sign the guys that are under contract. And given how Chet closed out the year, I don't know if they want to put all their eggs in the Chet basket either. I think Chet might be Hartenstein might be just as valuable to Chet as he is to OKC as a whole. But I'll say this: Hartenstein might be the one guy that I would be okay with replacing Mitchell Robinson in the heartbeat and not, you know what I mean? Like it'll be tough. It'll be like bittersweet, basically, like because I like Hartenstein. Already familiar with most of the guys here. Um, and his assertion came in Mitchell Robinson's absence. You know what I mean? So, and they kind of had the same exact numbers when they were playing together in almost split minutes. So, if you're talking about a guy who impacts the same way, impacts the same amount as Mitchell Robinson, Hartenstein does that. It's not the same weight, but it's the same amount of impact. So if we could go get iHeart back, as much as I'm a Mitch guy, that's the one guy that I would be okay with. You still there, son?
Yeah, I'm still here. Give me 1 second. I'm about to switch.
Oh,
Switch over real quick.
no, you good. Who's this? Wayne. Oh, there we go. Wayne Peterson. He said I heart ain't taking less. Well, no, he got 28 on the books, but only 8 is guaranteed. So they could, if they needed to open up a spot, or if they needed to get under the second apron, that's a way they could do it. And then he would be a free agent. So my thing is, if we had the 20 to pay Mitch, and somehow iHeart became available, I wouldn't mind giving that 20 to iHeart to offset what he lost. Sharon said the Lakers have a lot of money. They have a lot of money if they lose Austin Reeves and they denounce LeBron. I know there's a cap hold on Reeves. Now, if they let everybody walk, yeah, they got a whole lot of money, and they could pretty much go after 2 guys of any stature. But I don't know if they want to leave. I don't know if they want to let both those guys go, LeBron and Austin Reeves. I think one of the 2 have to come back. Which one they choose, I don't know.
Check. I don't know if that's me, Tony, or if you lost your feed. It looks like Tony is gone, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm assuming Tony lost his feed. I don't know. Randall said the Lakers said they're not going to give LeBron max money. Well, I don't even care about, we're talking about Mitch. Bagger Jones, and I'm not, no diss to you, Randall said as long as Mitch is happy mentally, hope he does whatever makes him happy. I don't know if Mitch has always been happy here. That's something I think, we got to take into consideration. I don't know if he's always been happy here. I mean, he obviously re-signed with the Knicks, so maybe he is happy with the Knicks. I don't know. Something that we'll find out. Now, also, I seen someone in the chat say that you wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks re-sign Mitch today or tomorrow so that they can figure out what they need to do in the draft. To be honest with you, I think that they're going to draft the center anyway. 3 draft picks tomorrow. I think they're going to draft the center just in case. You know what I mean? I know we got Huck Porty. Obviously, we got Cat in the starting lineup who starts at the center spot. But I think they do draft the center just in case, things don't work out with Mitch. I don't know if it would be smart to sign him right now, just because of the draft. You know what I mean? I think that the Knicks have enough. I mean, you got a 24 and a 31. That 31 is going to be pretty close to first round pick, talent-wise, not money-wise. So I think it would be wiser to hold off, see what those negotiations look like, and then just draft what you're going to draft who you're going to draft. The Knicks have done well drafting in the low first round and the second round. You know what I mean? So I think they'll be good enough to I think they'll be able to make a good decision, drafting that low. And it looks like Tony's back in the building. I think his device still isn't connected. Let's see if we can get him up there. But I don't know.
I thought I lost the whole stream.
Nah, it stayed on. I guess because I jumped on, so it stayed on.
That's what's up. What's up. You saved the stream. Oh, it was like, yeah, you'll usually be on this long. Start glitching.
Yeah, Huck said Huck is not an NBA center. He's a third string center at best.
I mean,
He's
he could
developing. It's only his
develop.
second year in the league.
Hold on, let me fix my audio.
Yeah. Nick Yak said we're drafting a power forward and a point guard and re-signing Mitch. We'll see. Mock draft. Got the Knicks taking Henry Visar,
All right, I
center
should be
from
back now.
UNC at 24. Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely taking the center. You want a feel good story? Take the kid from St. John's.
Yeah. You
want a feel good story.
Do you think that the writing's on the wall for Mitch if we draft the center?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it kind of feels like I think Mitch wants to be a starter.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think he can be a starter if he's injury free. He's not going to be a starter on this team. Not with Cat here.
Tougher pill to swallow. Losing Mitch or losing Hartenstein?
I'm gonna say losing Mitch simply because we won the championship.
And we had Hartenstein, and we still had Mitch when we lost Hartenstein.
Exactly. Right. So
I think emotionally it's gonna hit me the same.
Yeah.
I think emotionally it's gonna hit me the same. Like, because I think the fact that we won the championship, I think part of me will feel like, you know what, Mitch, you survived. You was with us when we was in our darkest days. You know what I mean? And you made it all the way to the end. You know what I mean? So part of me is like, go ahead, like somebody said in the chat, go get your money. You know what I mean? Go get your role. Appreciate everything you did here. It was tough with Hartenstein because he went and got a chip somewhere else. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Or on top of us losing them, and the way we lost them, like they clearly overpaid to you know what I mean, to get them away from us. So I think it's gonna be equally as tough for me. You know what I mean? The fact that he got the ring with us though, I think that makes it a little bit easier for me to accept, like, because he got us through the dark days and made it through where everybody else, you know what I mean, is on a different team before we got over the hurdle.
Right. Yeah.
But I hope we keep him, man. I hope we do. You at the office or you back at the crib?
I'm in the office now.
No doubt. I ain't gonna hold you too long. Any last comments you or anything on your mind? I was gonna hit you up later too, because I'm like, I know I slept the whole weekend away, kind of in a sense. I know you was tired, and I was like, I know he at work, so I'll hit him up tonight, see how everything's going. But you know what? Since you are here, though, I appreciate you. You know what I mean, picking me up and let me tag along, because I wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for you, and I would have been tight watching it on TV, knowing I could have been there. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that, man.
Nah, no problem. I'm gonna be doing a show tonight, just a little off season thing. You know, I do want to, if you don't mind, I do want to let everybody know we got some new merch up in the store.
100%.
You know what I mean? You know, it's pretty, pretty dope. If you don't mind, I'll share what this new JB shirt looks like, and people can go cop. Let me get it up here real quick, and I'll put a link up as well, and people can go check it out. Yeah, it's pretty. It's uploading into the thing right now, so
no doubt.
I think it's trying to upload. Oh no, it said it was too big. Hold on, I just pull up the image from the actual site.
I was gonna say that's what she said. uh,
Trying to
Bagger
get us in
Jones
trouble up
said
on this joint.
said we replaced iHeart with Cat.
Well, yeah, his skill
Technic,
set,
tech,
his skill set,
technically, but I think I don't know. I still think I don't know if I think we might have still got maybe not. We might have seen what we had with Randall and that team if we didn't lose Hartenstein. We might. So I agree. We did replace
right?
him.
I
We
mean,
did.
I think
Yeah.
maybe Randall and that team might have looked similar to what we look like now. You know what I'm saying? Because OG kind of took the place of Randall. Besides, some of the, Randall
Playmaking.
did more ball handling,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, all right, let's see. I don't know.
Mm.
This don't really work the way I want it to work.
How about this one? The coolest 718. As long as we bring back Shamit, I'm cool with losing Mitch, GTA, and others. If we could only bring back one guy,
Mhm.
who's your top priority?
Um, GTA. He'd be my top priority, I think. I just I like the fact that he was able to um help Brunson play off the ball a little bit. I love his defense. I love the energy that he brings. And then of course being a hometown guy, you know,
It would be tough. All right, I'm gonna leave GTA out of it because I think that part is the decision is his, right? Especially when you, at least
yeah.
for 1 year, is his decision. Either pick it up or don't. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna leave him out of it. But I think for me, it has to be Mitch. Like if I'm deciding between one guy that we have to bring back, it's Mitch.
Mhm.
And I say that because anybody else, anybody else in that second unit, and maybe some people in that first unit, Mitchell Robinson's the only person whose impact is is his impact is the most consistent. You know what I mean? Like anybody else, they can have an impact, but it also could be hit or miss. You know what I mean? Alvarado could
Mhm.
come in the game and you either gonna feel his impact or you're not. You know what I mean? Shamit could come in, he might go 12 for you know what I mean? He might go 8 for 10, but he might go one for 7 too. And you don't feel the impact. I think no matter what, at some in some aspect, Mitch is impacting the game, whether it's you know what I mean, the defensive strategy having changed. Oh, oh yeah, that's fire.
Yeah, that's the new shirt. It's available now too. But I ain't mean to cut you off. You can
Nah, nah,
keep
nah.
doing
I
what you're
just
doing, but
it caught my eye, but no, I think Mitchell Robinson's impact on the game is felt night in and night out, right? And it doesn't have to do
mm,
with whether he's having a outstanding lob night or not. You know what I mean? Like his defensive impact, his presence, the way teams have to guard you, the way they gotta strategize, and you know what I mean, they implement in the hack a Mitch or
yeah,
like to me that comes regardless of what his stats are on any given night. I think his
yeah,
impact is there. You know what I mean? The other guys, they they gotta be doing something for that impact to be effective. You know what I mean? Shamit gotta be knocking down them shots. Um,
yeah,
Alvarado gotta be knocking down the shots and being a pest. Mitch is
right,
gonna do what he does regardless, and it may not step in the stat sheet. And then
yeah,
JB said my So appreciate the super chat. He said, "My question is, when is it okay to play the youth?" Uh, I mean, I think these guys are playing.
I
I think
mean,
they
they
played.
played. I mean, they played, didn't they? They
Yeah, I
may not have
mean,
played in the, they may not have played in the playoffs like that, but they played.
and remember, these guys were new to Mike Brown too. You know what I mean? Like so
Yeah.
to Mike Brown, this is like they all rookies. You know what I mean? Like
Word.
he didn't experience Tyler the previous year. Diawara, he leapfrogged Dadier. You know what I mean? Dadier should have had the seniority, but no, Dadier's play got him on the floor.
Right.
Now, should they have played in the playoffs? I mean, you can't even argue it because we won. So the only you could argue could they have played, but you can't really argue should they have played.
Right.
So I think they'll play more next year, right? And then they'll play more again the following year. So, but I think they played for the most part.
Yeah, they definitely did. But yeah, Tone, that's the that's the new image. That's the image
Image, yeah. Now I seen the
that's on the shirt. That's the image, and you can actually it's the shirt
there you
right
go.
here.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a shirt
Yeah,
right
that's
here.
fire.
You know what I mean? NBKfam.app. I put the link in the chat. You know,
Go check it out.
you
Cop
see
one
it.
of the new joints.
It says New York 2026 champions. You know, I mean, it's you know, it's official. It's what it's gonna look like being on.
Got the sleeve embroidery. Got the
You know,
colors.
it's super soft. You know, super soft premium T-shirt. Yeah, go check it out. It's $30. NBKfam.app.
Abstract champion JB.
Yeah, and we got a few more, you know, few more styles coming. So,
Uh,
you know, a few more styles coming.
Nick Yak said Dadier is getting the Clarkston role. I mean, if he got to, if he got to.
No, he could
But
be.
you know, if he
Could
could,
be.
play some of that feisty defense Clarkson was playing, that'll help him. That'll help him. What time you think you coming on? Sherelle with the
Probably about 10:30.
fire emojis for the shirt.
Appreciate that, Jarrell. Probably about 10:30 tonight for about
10:30.
half an hour or so.
All right, I should be good for it. Yeah, I'm off tomorrow. We doing a little barbecue for my daughter's birthday. Her birthday Wednesday, but um me and her mom both got to work, so we doing it tomorrow. Knock that out.
Okay.
She talk about she want a steak, but she want to make it. All right, it's less
Mm.
time on the grill for me.
Word. All
Oh
right. Well,
man,
let me finish up some
yeah.
work
Oh,
and
that man, I
whatnot.
appreciate you jumping on with me. Like you don't never gotta ask him if you see I'm on. You got the keys, man. Just come on in.
Yeah, I
You know what I
bet
mean. And
for sure.
appreciate you guys in the chat, JB. Appreciate the super chats. Replay gang. Appreciate y'all as well. Until next time, your blackest time. We out of here.
Peace.